So next up, we got top 10 point guards in the league. I'm gonna let you start
Yeah.
this one off because I don't feel like getting killed. Uh,
All right, how you want to do? You want to start from 10 and go to 1, or you want to go from 1 and go to 10?
we go one to 10 because I feel like we know the top. We should know
Yeah,
at
all
least the
right,
one
true.
and two. The one and two should be solidified.
All right, my one best point guard in the league. I got Steph. I don't
Steph.
think that should be a question. Steph is probably going to finish at the very lowest, a top 3 point guard of all time, and there's no the other two are not playing right now. And he's still in his prime. He's been from 2015, from when did Steph come out? Like breakout party. I
A
want to say. I want to
breakout.
say like
It was that
2013.
garden. It was the garden. So it was
The
like
Garden
20.
years, so 2013, 2014 to now. So pretty much a decade of being, if
Yeah.
not the best point guard, which I think he's been the best point guard the last at least 7 years, undebatably. I feel like, if not that entire time. But Steph is number one for me, fresh coming off a championship.
Had to.
Uh, we saw what we saw what happens when his team is healthy, how he can transform that team, and we saw what his team like when he had nobody. He still almost carried them to like the playoffs, like the season before last, making a play in and then just like losing the play in, but having nobody there that whole year while he himself was coming off of an injury too, and being in that MVP talks as a what was it, 10th seed, 9th seed, 8th seed, whatever it was that you in the play, he was in the play in for it, like that was crazy. I think Steph is also one of the most influential players of all time. Nobody else right now is gonna like he himself has changed the game, and also being with like people like say he's the best shooter of all time, which he is. I just feel like that also minimizes what they think everything else he can do because he can do everything else pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great defender. I think he's a really good defender. He's also improved, like the last few years, especially like with him getting like naturally stronger, but he gives the effort too, like which you don't see a lot from playoff basketball. Mostly everybody pretty much tries to play defense, but I think he's very underrated. I would say as a defender, especially with like he has quicker hands now. He has probably one of the quicker hands too. That's how he used to get a lot of his steals. I think now it's also moving his feet a lot better. You want to give your one, or you want to just go down straight down my whole list?
No, we can go back and forth. I got Steph too. I mean, obviously, shit. It's Steph Curry, man. We not ain't nothing to really talk about. Shit, he's the best point guard in the league. Just came off a chip. Best player on that team. Like I feel like the other years they were constantly debating it and they were like, "Yo, um, Andre Iguodala got the Finals MVP. Steph ain't even getting the Finals
Steph should
MVP."
have got that.
Yeah,
Steph
yeah, of
should have got that.
course. And then the whole thing with KD, and they're like, KD and like Steph ain't really been the leader on not a leader, but like the top guy on the championship team because they for
Yeah,
whatever reason try to use that Andre Iguodala one as his little asterisk or
yeah,
whatever. But it's he solidified it for real, for anybody that was still doubting, which you shouldn't have been. But he solidified it this year. Is Steph, bro?
yeah. I think the thing I hate most about the KD stuff, which don't get me wrong, like KD was obviously, I think he was the best player on that team. Just like if you look at counting stats wise and stuff like that, especially you think that too. But Steph, no matter what, was the more important player because no matter what their offense was, it's built around Steph. KD ate off of that. Don't get me wrong; he obviously put up better and more numbers behind it because just who he is Kevin Durant. Like he said, like you know who I am. But when you got like Steph's gravity alone, like you're not probably gonna see a whole lot of doubles off ball from like KD.
Hmm.
Like we were saying earlier, Steph moves so much, like you can't relax around him. The team is panicking if you see Steph running around like, oh, his man lagging. All right, let me go up now too. Like somebody who may be setting that screen, like his man going up now. It's a back door for Draymond, seeing like Iggy or somebody going off of that. Like one is possible too. Like KD isn't obviously running around like Steph because I'm KD. Give me the ball. I'm 6'11". Nobody's guarding that. But I think Steph is no matter what that he is the key to the like to that ignition of what their offense is. So that's the argument I used to always say too. But Luca, I got Luca
Of
my
course.
second point guard. I usually don't like putting Luca like on my PG list just because he's like fucking 6'8". I'm going to put him there like that 3 spot. But especially
Nah,
after like how the last season and even before that goes, like I don't want to say it like that. It's a bad thing. How ball dominant he is, but also how he runs the offense himself.
mm,
There's no doubt about him being a point guard.
yeah,
But also like we can talk about Luka for a second too. Like undebatable generational like type talent came in and off the rip was one of them ones. He's just showed that like coming off of another like all NBA first team, like made his first conference finals this year with honestly what he's doing with the roster right now that isn't even really that great or even really that good, I should say.
Don't
They
get
only
talked
had
about.
one that like that the team around him is built great, but like, and I don't want to say like, oh, he ain't got no names, but when you don't have another legitimate star, I'm not even saying like an all star, like, but even to have like a star or all star caliber player that can alleviate some pressure off him on a night to night basis. Whenever they get that, the it's scary. That's all I want to say. If they can fill out their roster like a lot better, like they have the wing defenders right now, they still don't really have any like interior like defense or like interior presence. They got Christian Wood, so I'm interested. I'm curious to see what Christian Wood's going to look like this year, especially
in
next
a
to Luca. Like
in a winning
I'm really
organization.
excited.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
looking
that
forward
too.
to for him is how is he gonna translate to a winning team? Because he can offer a lot. Like he's a really good player, but obviously he's been on a lot of bad teams. And it can get lost a little bit. And you're like, all right, is this player really
Yeah,
good? Are they averaging 20 because they're a 20-point game scorer? Or are they averaging 20 because ain't nobody else there to put the ball in the basket? So we gonna see for real.
yeah. The empty stats folks be trying to go crazy on.
But
I don't believe in
I
empty
think he will
stats a
make an
lot though.
impact though.
Yeah, I don't believe in empty stats a lot. It's only one player that comes off the top of my head who I'm like, those probably empty stats, and that was Michael Carter Williams that like rookie year. That's the only time I ever feel like I've seen somebody be like, man, these are empty stats. And even still, when you looked at it, it's not like he was just like chucking. He was just the key to the offense. But I digress on that one. I'll let you go for third because I done definitely gave my two back to back, like my first two.
No, you good. Yeah, you had Luca. I agree with Luca on that one. And then third, I got Dame, man. I got Dame. I know he was hurt last year,
Oh,
but he had it's an
wow.
abdominal injury that he was dealing with. He said for multiple years. Dame has never not
Yes.
shown up. Like Dame. It don't matter who has been on the Portland Trailblazers. Dame has at least gotten them to the playoffs and further in most instances. Got them to the Western Conference Finals, and of course they ran into a crazy Golden State team and they got swept. Um, I don't know. Since
Yeah.
Dame has came into the league, bro, he has produced and he has been that guy. Then and to me, like I said, he's always been is Steph, and then is Dame. Of course, Luca is on the scene now, and you ain't doing nothing with 6'8" dude, almost
Yeah.
averaging a 25-point triple double. But if we talking about that next tier, it's Dame, bro. He can do just about everything that Steph can do, and he shows
Yeah.
up in big games. He is arguably the most clutch player in the league. Like teams are legit scared when he gets the ball in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Throwing doubles.
So
Throw the double. Get the ball. Anybody else can beat us. Just
so,
get the ball out of his hand type dude.
so I'm gonna go Dame. I know he was hurt last year, but I don't think that half a season of being hurt is enough to knock him out of contention. Now, I'm not doing that to him yet. If he hurt again, I
Yeah.
you got to get out the top 10. But for now,
I think no matter what, he's top 10 regardless. Like even coming back this year, like you said, that's why I was asking earlier about like having the injuries and stuff on. Um, but I think I do. This is the first time we disagree for this one though. I had and Dame is my guy. Dame is my favorite player in the league, or one of my three favorite players in the league. I got Ja right here though. Just coming off the season that Ja had, I gave the edge to him slightly. This is
mhm,
where I said like I was like, are we including like injuries from last season? We just going off of last season in general. Once we like, oh no, we can include players coming back from injury. I was like trying to figure out to put him at 3 or put him at 4. And I was going back and forth with him and Ja for a minute. I'm like, just man, I give it to Ja just because like I don't want to say just because Ja is like Ja's like has been that dude since he kind of came into the league, and they're starting to fill out that roster around him where he can have that kind of impact. Like you said, though, Dame has done so much with no super like kind of crazy help outside of when he like it was the year he lost his entire starting five, the rest of his starting five, and they
oh yeah,
came right back next year still in the playoffs. Like he hasn't really missed the playoffs except I think his rookie year,
he's
which is
never
like
had an All Star. Well,
he's
not
never
never,
had an
but
All
in the
Star.
last couple years, he has not had an All Star. When people have
No,
been dogging him, I'm like, bro, he's making it every. Yo, you make it to the Western Conference Finals with no other All Star.
yeah,
The only other nigga to do that is Luca. Shit, Luca's the only nigga that did it. And they top three to me. I mean, you got a different, but I'm saying like they in that
yeah.
category, bro. But yeah, go ahead. But you said
Um,
top three.
I do have Ja. I had Ja at 3, and then uh, just because like what Ja does, Ja is like one not only cause, but he's like one of the more exciting players in the league. I understand people like want like, oh, he's that high, like he shouldn't be that high on the list because his team is still really good without him. Like games he didn't play.
Oh
I
yeah,
just think that's the way that their roster is structured, and they also have one of I think the best backup point guard in the league in
that
Tyus Jones.
I
Like,
agree. I
he could
absolutely agree.
probably have a job elsewhere if he really wanted to, and be like a starting PG on like a mid like people like mid team, like mid tier team, or
Mhm.
like a backup where he's getting a lot of like that same type of minutes. But coming like he's averaging like what maybe 25 minutes a game there, if that. But
If
still
that.
like one of the best point guard, like best backup PGs in the league. But Ja like his leadership alone, I think is similar to how Dame's is, where it's like no, no matter what, we going to war.
We going
We going to war no matter what. Each night, every night, we competing in some type of way or fashion. We're going to be competing, and him just like not being afraid of like one the moment, similar to like how Dame is. I don't think anybody's in the league is pretty much as clutch as Dame is. Um, but also like not being afraid of moments. Like we've seen him have these crazy game winners. We taking like you took that to the rack, like, and you want to say like with the left, like obviously it's an NBA play they can use their left hand, but like you doing that with the left off like the difficult like you taking them shots, like having those back and forth moments with Steph, like he's not scared to jaw with anybody, and
no.
I love that too because he's like I love like we was talking about earlier like Jakeem Noah like that fire, like
Mhm.
he's that perfect mix of like how people say like Russ he had people compare like him and Russ because like they athleticism. I think he's a lot more like Russ though with just his intensity and how he plays the game. He might not be all out in your face yelling, but he's like no, I'm gonna be a dog and
Mhm.
my team gonna know we dog. And I'm talking. I'm not yelling, but I'm talking to you. Oh yeah, like you. And it's like obviously like his voice like deeper than you like think it's gonna be like when he's talking about. Oh yeah, we gonna have some fun today. Like you looking like,
Mhm.
hey bro, you know that Steph over there, right? Big dog. You probably shouldn't be
Y'all
talking
niggas
to
don't care.
to big dog. Big dog.
They didn't
Um,
overuse the term, but I love what they say they run up the chimney or some shit like that. Like they want all the smoke.
yeah,
They run up. I hate that
it's so.
they done watered it down, but when it was first said, I was like, that shit hard.
Like, the first time we said it, he was like, oh, all right, bet. And then they keep saying it, he's just like, all right, dude. Like,
Every time on ESPN they
nothing
bring
else.
up Ja, they talking about they run up the chimney. I'm like, all right, fam. All right.
It's cooked.
It's over.
It's
It's
all
over
it got
now.
overused. But yeah, like I think he like represents just in the entirety of what that team is because he sets the tone for it. But like I said, they don't really have like another star. He has Jaren Jackson Jr. who's like kind of inconsistent at times.
Kinda.
Defensively, like he's like kind of similar to Bam. Defensively, I'm gonna be here, but like offensively, you can't ask me to do a crazy amount. Like he still doesn't even rebound a ball really well for somebody who as good a defender as he is. You always expect like defensive rebounding to go hand in hand
Right.
and that he's one of those guys that just doesn't. I don't want to like keep talking about the rest of his team, but like the fact that Jock can like take a team like all that. You got Dylan Brooks on your team, but you going to the playoffs and compete, bro. You have Dylan Brooks on your team, and you're still
You
competing.
don't like
Like
Dylan
that.
Brooks?
I do not like Dylan Brooks.
You don't
Dylan
like
Brooks don't even like Dylan Brooks. I don't like Dylan Brooks just because he shoots too much. I
well,
think
he has no conscience. I think that's why I like him. He takes a
that's like,
lot of
bro.
bad shots. A lot of
He's
bad
a
shots.
if you're giving, he's one of those like players where if you're giving him the ball, you're not getting it back. Like
But I
not
think
even giving it back. Like it's so many times that he just has like soon as he gets the ball, it's like just tunnel vision. Like I'm gonna go get a bucket. And what's crazy is I don't think he was even really like doing that when he was at Oregon.
no.
Like
No.
when he was at Oregon, I'm like, bro, he was nice at Oregon. And don't get me wrong, but I feel like he wasn't like this locked in on like I can get us a bucket. Like no,
You
we need
know,
you to be that guy sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but it's times where like you've seen him sell a game just because it's like at the time it feels like hero ball, but that's because he's wired like his brain at this point is wired. Like, I'm gonna go get a bucket.
you know
You don't need to do that.
the thing with him is like I think it works for that team. Like like
Yeah,
Ja's not gonna let him stray away too much. And then, like you said, Tyus Jones off the bench is probably the best backup point guard in the league. He coming in, most
yeah,
likely Dylan Brooks is gonna still be on the floor because you can't they're not gonna take but him and Ja off the court at the same time. He's still gonna be in. So Tyus Jones not gonna let the man shoot them out the game because he's a really good backup point guard. I mean, he do shoot him out sometimes because he just say fuck it. But he because you know, a lot of times he shoot it off he shoot them out the game, and then they're getting it off the board and he's not giving it up at all. But
no,
I think like
literally,
especially for the Warriors, they need that guy. He's their Draymond. He's
yeah, no,
their Joakim.
he,
He's their
He
Imma
calls a
fuck
lot
up
too.
sometimes, but Imma make up for it in my energy and my defense and my tenacity and shit. Because you can't go up against the Warriors if you ain't got nobody to match
They
that
got some,
energy with Draymond. You're not
yeah. At
nah,
least
they gonna
at least a
punk you.
little bit. At least a little bit. Um,
That's part of the reason I feel like the Celtics lost because you got Grant Williams trying to go back and forth with
yeah, I
Draymond.
was gonna say Grant was
Come
that
on
dude
now.
because they don't have a lot of guys that talk. They got dudes that's killers. Like you got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, obviously are
Yeah.
killers, but like
You need
Draymond
that
started
guy.
talking, they just be looking at him like, all right. It's like you said, sometimes it feel like, are you getting punked right now? Like you
Yeah.
might get like zoned out, but yeah.
We can go
Yeah,
to
not to my bad. We kind of strayed off a little bit, my
yeah,
fault.
yeah.
But
It's
I
cool.
got Ja up there, especially Ja. I think he's improving as a playmaker. Obviously, for somebody who has the ball in their hands, as much as he does, you want them to be able to like create for everybody else, and I think he's done a really great job of that too. He
Mhm,
was, I think if he did get hurt this year and miss as much time as he did, he probably would have been in even more MVP talks. That's
mhm.
just me though. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite guards in the league for sure, for sure. But I think I got him at 3 going into the season, and I think
I
he'll
mean,
stay there for at least until Steph phases out the league. Then he'll be top 2, and then Luka will be 1 because I don't think Luka's going down no time soon.
nowhere. So
Um,
you had 'em we had 'em flipped, right? You had,
yeah,
Ja
I got
3
Dame
and
at 4.
Dame 4, and then I had,
Yeah, I got
Dame
Dame
3 and
4.
Ja 4. Okay. So we can go to
Yeah,
5 then. Um, at
I
5,
think we probably got
I got
5.
Trae Young. I think Trae
Yeah,
Young
I was like, we
got
should
it
have
right
5 the
there.
same.
Instant offense. I don't really gotta say
Yeah,
too much about Trae Young. Instant offense, man. He he is the offense, bro. Like when you think about it,
literally.
everybody on the Hawks needs him to score. Clint Capella need him to score. John Collins need him to score. Bogdanovich need him to score. That's
Yeah,
why they went and got DeJounte Murray because they like, bro, we can't score if he not spoon feeding us. And it's not
yeah,
because he's making them do that. It's like he tries to be passive sometimes, but it's like, all right, y'all can't get a bucket. Now I got to turn up. Now I gotta
yeah,
go rattle off 10 points straight, throw some lobs to Clint Capella, make sure everybody is,
yeah.
and
I think
he
that's
made it to
also
the
what makes
Eastern
them fun to
Conference
watch.
doing that.
Yeah,
Was that
I think that's also what makes them fun to watch though too. Like I think the average fan can watch Trey Young do all the crazy stuff. Like I'm going obviously off when he's not having those like offshoot nights.
mm,
But when you can look at Trey Young like do like crazy handles, probably top 5 handle in the league right now. Only top 3 maybe honestly, because I'm thinking right now guards at
Kyrie?
least. Because I don't know, it's a little bit harder when you got PG coming up because PG handles are crazy too.
So it's
But
probably
whatever.
Kyrie. Steph handle is pretty nasty. He don't
Steph
do as
handles
much
are
flashy
disgusting.
shit, but
I don't
Steph
think so, but the fact that he can get off how he get off pause without like with how many how he gets defended is crazy. I think his handle is up there. But no, like you said, it's the offense. Like if he's on your team, you're like automatically probably like top 5 to top 10
easy.
offense just off of how he one scores the ball, but also like you said, spoon feed cats, like just giving them like literally. I think his first year, what he averaged like 8 assists off the rip, and that was when he started off scoring slow. Like he
Yeah,
started. I know I always say this every time I talk about Trey Young, but like his rookie year, as crazy as it was, but he was had a really good rookie year. Like he started off shooting really, really bad, and to
mhm,
end it how he ended still really good. I think goes to show like how good he is as a player. I think his shot selection will get better though with Dejounte Murray coming in this year. Just because it'll allow him to play a little bit off ball. So now we get to see if like, okay, can you move at least a little bit like Steph? Because
you'll
him
have
coming
to.
off, I think that also will make him more efficient. Because if you like as no matter how good you are as shooting off the dribble or like making these tough shots, that's gonna be a way harder shot than just shooting it wide the fuck
Of
open,
course.
no matter what. So I think his efficiency, which I know what people sometimes like talk about, like he's not really that great of a shooter because his numbers are this. Like if your numbers look like that, but you're taking like 35 footers and you like taking 30 footers off the dribble with the other team's best defender on you night in and night out, and you still shooting like I don't know if number I'm talking about, but you still shoot 37% from 3. That's
Mhm,
easy jumping up to 40, and that's if he's even shooting that. But like, I think he'll get a lot better with Dejounte Murray, especially like he'll take off some defensive pressure that he doesn't have because he doesn't play lick of defense anyway. I think even if he tried, he probably couldn't.
no.
What he listed at 6 feet, he's probably realistically like 5'10", 5'11".
That's why I
And
don't
he's
knock
still.
him for it too much because 'cause I'm like, even if you really try, bro, it's not much you can do. You could probably stay in
I
front of
just
some
want him to
people.
get. Only thing I knock him for is at least give the effort because it's nice when
Yeah.
he's not even giving the effort. Like at least get through the screen, especially because I don't know. Just because I know when obviously I'm not an NBA player, but when I hoop, I'm like okay, I'm more times than not, they're gonna make me guard the best player. I feel like I got clamps, whatever. But like even still, I've had to, I'm only 6 feet. I've had to guard dudes like 6'4". I'm like, hey, I'll get through the screen. Y'all just like to help me after that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the effort, but at least like funneling. Like it's not like he's funneling to Clint Capella. It's like it's an easy blow by. But
Which is
now
very
Clint
nice.
has to come from like the entire other side. Oh my god. But yeah, I think it'll be better this year with Dejounte.
Mm, agreed.
That'll take off some creating pressure. I think he'll still put up numbers.
You so we had the same one for 5. We both had Trey. Who you got at
Yeah,
6?
I got Harden. I got Harden at 6.
Had Harden at 6.
Harden not on your list, is he?
No. As a
Only reason, so
he's
only
a
reason I debated putting him at the 2, but they have Tyrese Maxey as their starting
yeah.
2, and he was running the show as their point guard. So he's been a point. That's how I did it because he's been a point guard at least the last few seasons. So going into the season, I think he's still going to be operating in that capacity, especially because James Harden at his best. Like I don't think we're seeing Houston James Harden again. I think he's
No.
gone. I think people need to let that go. Like, oh man, like the 35, 40-point triple doubles, that's not there no more. He has actual teammates who can score now. He doesn't need to put up those numbers. Now there are nights you need him to on occasion, but like him backpacking and having like those 2 weeks in a row of putting up 35, 40 balls, 50 balls, all that, I think those days are done. I still think at his best now, I like this season he could be averaging like 24 and 11 like type numbers to me, and doing that in an offense that still includes like Joel.
Mhm.
I think that's what he can do this year. Now, obviously, I want to see that translate to the playoffs. That's the only reason he's not higher on this list. I wanted to put him higher is because the playoffs he sometimes seems to fall off a cliff, and that's even like that's been a while. Other than like the OKC finals when he was in the finals of OKC and he was
Yeah.
hooping. Like other than that, it's sometimes you just feel like he like wets the bed. It seems like where you just fall off down the hill. Like you were like this guy during the regular season. Like we need you to do that now. Like I know
Mhm.
defenses change. You got to adapt.
Gotta
You literally have to adapt some type of
It's
way.
hard to watch that Miami series, bro. It's really hard.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I didn't have him on there. Originally I had Kyrie on there, but I took him off. I'm
Mhm.
gonna give James that 6th spot, but I
Okay.
will say I do not have faith in this man being good this season. And I'm gonna say
You
it.
don't.
I do not.
Mm.
Everybody is like, "Yo, James about to come back and he about to terrorize the league." For me, and I've
Terrorize
touched
is
on it a
crazy.
little bit. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but when you're hurt 2 seasons in a row, I give you the one. One season, he
Yeah,
had the one season with when he was still in Brooklyn and going into the
hammy,
playoffs, he had some knick-knack
hamstring.
injuries. They didn't really need him in the Boston series. Did he even play in the Boston series? I don't remember that. But I know like either he didn't play or they didn't really need him to do too much in the Boston series. And he was hurt going into the playoffs and of course then the Milwaukee series, he was out there on one leg.
Yeah,
So that season I understood. You get the off season. You should come back healthy. Next season, get traded to the 76ers. First 5 games with the Sixers, I was like, all right, bro, back. You can do this. After that, fell off a cliff. Now that's 2 seasons where you're not
yeah,
performing at the level that we saw you perform. Like not even Houston, because I think I let go of Houston a long time ago. But it's the
yeah,
beginning of Brooklyn. What he did at the beginning of
yeah,
Brooklyn when he first got there, he giving you
yeah.
pretty much like 20, 9 and 9, like somewhere in there. Matter of fact, more than that, he was giving you like
You
11,
know,
12
he
assists at
definitely
one
like it
point.
was like yeah, he
Matter of
was getting
fact,
like 12 assists a
he
game.
was an MVP candidate when he first got there. They was
Yeah,
talking about not really trying to put him in it because he forced his way out of Houston. But early on, he
yeah,
was an MVP favorite at the beginning of the season. So like getting
mhm,
back to that is what my expectation was. But
yeah.
for me,
Same.
I lose a little bit of faith in players after 2 seasons of being hurt. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
if you had an off season to get healthy, like y'all got sent home in the second round, and you come into the next season, you telling me that hamstring still ain't right? Because you could have sat out in Houston. You could have sat out in Brooklyn. You was forcing your way out anyway. You could have sat out and let your
yeah.
hamstring recover. But I
I
hope he
think that
do. But I don't have too much faith in him coming back healthy.
yeah, I think that he didn't sit because Kyrie didn't play, and if it's just KD is really great, but how the rest of the team is structured, I think he was just like, all right, I can do what I can. But I think given they got sent home the second round again this year, and it's not like uh last year where I feel like it was still a little bit of a gap with what I want to say. I don't know. I feel like lose my train of thought. I think this is his first off season. He said where he's able to actually fully rest and focus on that recovery. He said he hasn't had that in a while, and for somebody who I feel like doesn't usually try to take care of his body, I don't want to call him a lazy dude because I don't think you can be in the NBA and be lazy. I
Mm,
feel like you can be a little bit more partyish than you need to be. Like dudes like AI, like you probably a
right.
little bit more party heavy than you need to be. But I think this will be a season. I feel like his mindset changed. The fact that he left money on the table, so like,
Yeah.
hey, the little extra bread y'all got, like try to get us a few players that can like help
Do
me,
something.
help us make the playoffs, help us like perform better in playoffs, and then like give me the rest. You still took 32 M's. Don't get me wrong, but like taking
Hey,
32
bro.
M's rather than 47, 48, or damn near 50 M's, like you taking a decent pay cut for a year or two, and like, all right, let's really focus on getting it done this year. And
Mhm.
I don't want to always put too much into like people posting their workouts during the off season, but him like posting him or getting posted in the gym with like Sam Cassell, uh,
He ain't
and
tricked me with
also
that shit.
like actually look like he's been working out because I feel like it's somebody who doesn't work out. Now he was obviously getting cooked, like they was like he built like Donald Glover, which is true, but like he's still a strong dude. Like it's no matter what. I think his first step he might have lost some of that first step, especially with the hamstring injury coming off of that. But I think going into this season, as long as he's in that mindset, like you said, of Brooklyn, we got to Brooklyn, like maybe I'm putting up like 22 and 12, 22, 8 and 12, like a night. Similar numbers to that, because you still have a similar dude there. Like you got
Mm.
Joel Embiid right there who's gonna get a bucket. You got Tyrese Maxey, who like Tyrese Maxey is one of them is a really really good young NBA player. He's probably gonna average.
Tyrese Maxey was better than James Harden last season, which is when
Oh
I
yes,
knew it was a problem.
and exactly. I don't think that's gonna happen again too though. But he's also helping set the table for Maxey. As long as you can help set the table and you can score a
It
little bit. Not to say he wasn't, but like no, Tyrese Maxey, especially in
no,
that Miami series, Tyrese Maxey was the better
I
player.
just mean I feel like Tyrese Maxey is gonna be better than James Harden this season. And I feel like I'm
Uh,
hating. It sounds like I'm hating. I'm really not. I'm just watching the stuff. Tyrese Maxey was cold. He surprised me last year, and I know he's gonna
yeah,
get better. He
he should have
seems
got
like a
most improved.
very in the gym, I'm gonna work on my game type player, and he came back the few seasons that he played and been better every year. Um,
Yeah,
but
he probably should have
James,
won. He should have won most improved last year. Either him or Jordan
I,
Poole should have won most improved.
yeah, I feel like James Harden is not fooling me with them damn workouts, bro. They not. The
No,
workout clips.
I don't try to
No,
buy too much stock into the workouts. Don't get
I
me
don't
wrong,
either.
but
But when people like for James Harden, when people are buying that stock, I'm like, I hope y'all watch them Rico Hines runs where Scotty Barnes by himself.
Clamp,
For me, if
clamp.
you if a man, yo, as an NBA player, should nobody, if you're not an NBA player, as a NBA top tier player, should nobody be able to guard you one on one? Because you hear great players talk about it. They say, I'm not looking at the man in front of me. I'm looking at the man
Mhm.
behind him because
Yeah.
I know I can get past this man. You Scotty Barnes is he here, bro. He's not letting you go. He had that man in a straight jacket. I'm like, all right, so either
No, yeah.
y'all want to take the stock of these workouts or y'all don't. Because if y'all do, I seen what Scotty Barnes did, and they gonna have to probably come against the Raptors again next season because the Raptors ain't going nowhere. Y'all will probably bump into them again in a 4-5 matchup, a 3-6 matchup, something like that. Y'all gonna see them again.
At some point, I do
As
think that. So if it was anybody else, if it was like a random in there, like one of the random Raptors players that always, because the Raptors be coming through that deep as
they
hell to the
do,
Rico Signs
they
runs.
do.
Not sure why, but if it was like one of the randos there that was clamping them, then I'd be like, ugh, that's cause for concern. But Scotty got clamps though. That's the thing. He also didn't give him space. I think he's a special defender, but also like being able, like wanting to do that in the open run is crazy because he was guarding him like he's picking up in full court, but he started like locking in at half.
Yeah,
Like you're not getting past me, dog. Like
but
you're having a rough run. Like no matter what.
so my thing, I'll agree with that point. Like Scotty Barnes is probably like he's a top tier defender. Like he'll probably be
Yeah,
all defense next year too, along with Evan Mobley. So I get it that that's a great defender. It's not an average dude, but in the
yeah.
playoffs, that's who you getting. You
That is
getting them
yeah.
guys. You getting these guys that are they're putting their best player on you. They can't put Scotty Barnes on Joel. So who should be second? on that list is, "Yo, go
Yeah,
get James. I need you to take him out the game." And if that happens again in the playoffs, matter of fact, because James Harden, his resume speaks for itself, bro. You're too
yeah.
good to the point for us to judge you off a regular season. So regular season, I'm not gonna judge
I don't care
James
about
Harden.
that.
I'm not gonna be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, he suck." No, I'm not judging you off that. Even with the Russell Westbrook stuff last year, Russell Westbrook resume precedes that. It's like, bro, what are you doing
yeah.
come playoff time?
They
Matter of
just be
fact, not
different.
even if you lose, it's how you going
Yeah,
out. Like I wouldn't even mad at James Harden and them for losing. It's bro, how you when
yeah.
you went out bad.
He
Like
went out bad. He didn't even. I don't think he was shooting like the
no,
second half of a lot of those games. He wasn't even putting the ball up. So
I
that's what disappointed me because I thought they was gonna beat Miami. Like
they
I
could
thought on
have.
paper they could beat Miami. So
They
yeah,
had the opportunity to beat them. I don't. I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater of James Harden. I love his game. I just if I had to be real, I would like I don't have no faith that he gonna come back. But even with that said, I still think he's
yeah,
top 6 point guard in the league. Like
for sure.
even
That's
on a bad
that makes
night, on a bad year,
on a bad night. That's
I
okay.
still put some respect on his name. We go
Okay.
number 7.
Yeah, this is where it started getting a
Yes,
little like close up, but
some feelings want to get hurt. So
probably. But I went here. I went Darius Garland. I went Darius Garland as my
same,
seven.
same.
Okay, so we on the same wave.
Go ahead.
Um, Darius Garland is probably his growth, just period, has been amazing from like his rookie year. If you remember, I don't know if you remember that article that came out, and he kind of threw some shade to it too. Once he got his bad at extension, when he was like, statistically, he was the worst the worst player in basketball. And if you watch Darius Garland, honestly, ever, because he's been like that since high school. He was like that at
Yes.
Vanderbilt. He got hurt, but if you watch Darius Garland, you know what he can do. And he obviously players like, especially young players, like you're just gonna get better. I think he's in a perfect situation in Cleveland where he's gonna have the ball a lot. He can be ball dominant, which I think is gonna help them be successful until they get like at least a second or third star like on a wing. They can just be a person they can go get a bucket maybe with them.
Mhm.
Like kind of like that Chris Middleton mode kind of player.
Right.
Um, but like him, like having their franchise start with like him and Evan Mobley, like I think you're set for at least the next 10 years. You're set as long
Mhm.
as nothing funky happens. You're set.
That
But
is a good
then
foundation.
like he's improved as like a shooter. He's a great ISO scorer. He's a way better playmaker than I was even expecting him to be. Like I thought he was gonna be a solid playmaker. I thought he was gonna more so be like a shoot first guard, score first guard.
Mhm.
And him having that like combo of like, no, I can give you like 20 and 10 a night, like on a night in, night out basis. Like like when I'm not when I was making like my parlays to FanDuel, my only thing I would like the only thing that always hit no matter what was taking the over on his assist. Or maybe also the over on his because he's diving that whole up.
He got so many
I'm
weapons.
they got like a lot of they got a lot of weapons right now. You got Evan Mobley, like Kevin Love on that wing when they got Kevin Love in the game, but like Evan Mobley send a pick and roll for you and set a table for him because eventually that's gonna be like probably I think the best pick and roll combo in the league.
He's
Because once Evan Mobley gets a little bit better, it's either gonna be a roll or a pop, and now you don't know
I
how
was
to
gonna
guard
say
what you
that
want.
if he get that little KG pop, that little mid range pop, maybe he stretches to the 3, or for
Yeah,
now he keep it at kind of had KG had it like a long kind of like free throw line too. If
yeah,
that's they pick and pop, or he can obviously Evan Mobley can roll, and you got Jared Allen on the backside for the lob. So
yeah.
that pick and roll is gonna be nasty for a long time.
Deadly. But just him like consistently improving like each year, in and out. I think it's gonna be great for their growth. But him also like I don't want to say he backpacked, but him being like the only real ball handler they had on the team last year because Rubio got hurt. They didn't like have Colin Sexton got hurt. And realistically, you want like I said that Chris Middleton moves to be Karis LeVert since he's been moved around a little bit, I think stability is like really good for him. So I think he has a good
Mhm.
season next year, and hopefully like Darius Garland can get that with him too. But being able to make an All Star, like being a first year All Star, voted into like your hometown team, like where you're like playing that be for. I think that's really super dope. I think that gives you like another wave too. Um, and until like all the other players got hurt, they were like a 3 seed last year. Before like Evan Mobley got hurt, Jared Allen got hurt, like,
Yeah,
and
they
these
were a
are
top
guys who are
seed.
important because that's their entire defense is gone right there once they get lead. So they were like a top 3 seed, and then like get everybody getting hurt. Now we falling out of contention. Now we stuck in a play-in, or we not making a play-in, and like
Had
all
a
that kind of stuff
lot of
happens. That's just like a
injuries.
bad. That's just bad juju. But when everybody was healthy, they were a top 3 seed in the East, and like with teams that we had, like Brooklyn was hooping last year until KD got hurt, but we had Bulls was hooping. There was a lot of injuries and stuff that happened, but like don't get me wrong, like when everybody was healthy, like they were still a number 3 seed. I think there's a reason for that. He's the engine that makes their offense go. And then Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are obviously the defensive side of that, but he's what makes their offense go. So
Mhm.
I think he got the nod for me, like over some of these the last 3 that I got on the bottom of that, just because one, I just keep projecting him to only get better. They might honestly he might jump up this list next year. Like if he can hit another like level, he's only 21 years old, dude.
There's
Like
young.
he's only 21, man.
That's
That
crazy.
like the league is in good hands. If he played defense, how like CP played defense, I would say he's just a younger version of CP. But he doesn't play that. He doesn't play defense like how CP played defense. So that's it. That's the only thing. But yeah, no, I really like his game, man. I really like his game. I like Darius Garland.
Um, so we agreed on that one. And I'm
Yeah,
gonna go. There's one name that's still out there. Uh,
yeah,
I'm not gonna ask about it because no, I'm not. I think you're thinking of somebody else. I don't know if he's a point guard or a shooting guard, and I feel like that's gonna determine him if he made the end of your list or not. But we gonna see. All right. So, at 8, I got Drew Holiday.
Ooh,
I got Drew
I don't
Holiday.
have him. I don't have him at 8, but go ahead.
Okay. So a lot of these players, they don't play defense like that, and I don't knock them for not playing defense. Like, yo, it's
Yeah,
hard.
it's
It's
hard.
hard to play in this league and really clamp up. Drew Holiday does that shit. Like, Drew
Night in,
Holiday
night out.
takes people out of the game. Like, like in the finals, bro, it was yo CP cooking. Drew get him, shut him down, turn CP into a corner sitter. Yo, Devin Booker, no, bro. When I'm telling you, I'm not hating. I'm not capping. I'm not hating. Go watch
No,
the
no,
film.
I'm just having I haven't heard somebody say that. He turned him into a corner sitter. That's why I laughed.
He
Not that you
did.
was wrong, because he
Oh yeah,
definitely like took he took him. He was able to take him out the game.
out the game.
He
He
was
did,
able
and
to
he
take
did
him
the
out.
same thing to Devin Booker. And
Yeah,
I won't say it like they were scared, but either way, whoever was cooking, they'd be like, "All right, Drew, take him," right? And then they would pass it to the other player. If he was on Devin Booker, yo, CP, bring it up. I'm gonna go sit in the corner because I don't want him involved in
I
the
don't.
play. I don't want him
Yeah,
anywhere near the ball because this man is taking shit. Like, so
yeah.
and he's a very underrated offensive player too. I feel like people
Yes.
they they knock him for that, but I'm like, nah, bro, like he can do everything that everybody
Three
outside of the
guys.
top 5, he can do pretty much everything that everybody else in the league can
Okay,
do.
yeah.
The
Like
top
what I
5
top
is the
five
top
is.
5 is in the
What I
league of their own,
yeah.
but everything else, I feel like if he really wanted to, because he's not a that's not his mentality to score. Even when he was in Philly,
Yeah.
even when he was with the
The
Pelicans, his
Pelicans.
mentality has never been score first. But when he has to score and he got to turn it on, bro, he posting up 6'8" niggas. Like he has a post up game
He
as a
has a
point guard, bro.
there's no weakness in his game at all.
None.
Is
There is
what you can
nothing where you
basically
said, "We gonna
say.
make him do this." He can go left,
No.
right, he can finish left, right. Bro, go right, finish
He
on the
he
right side with the left.
he
He got
literally
everything.
he goes left. I feel like he finishes more with his left than his right. Not like
Absolutely.
crazy like how John Wall used to be like, I'm dunking niggas in my left, like I'm cocking it back. But like Drew
That
Holiday
shit
dunks
nasty.
with his left, I feel like more than his like right. He
Yeah.
finishes a lot more with his left. Um I didn't have Drew here, but I still do want to talk about Drew because he's still on
Yeah.
my top 10 list. Like you said, I'm clamping up 1 through 3. I'm for sure clamping. I'm gonna guard the 4, and they might score off me just because they got like that size on me. But 1 through 3, I'm pretty much clamping up, right?
Mhm.
And then like you said, I think people look at him offensively like, oh, well, he can't be that guy. Like you're asking him to do something that he hasn't had to do in a long time, which is be like, "All right, we need you to be our like 1 or 2 punch."
Right.
Obviously, Giannis there, so we need you to be there too. But like having to step into a 2 mode where instead of like it being Chris Middleton, who's what 6'7", 6'8", now you got the like the if not the best defender, then the second best defender is defender on you. And we playing the Celtics,
Mhm.
that top 4 defense is crazy. No matter which dude is guarding you, it's not sweet because Tatum not sweet, Jaylen Brown not sweet, Marcus Smart ain't sweet. You
Mhm.
taking one of those 3 matchups, and I'm what he's 6'4". He's still a big guard. Don't get me wrong. He getting off how he can put his numbers up how he put his numbers up. But when you ask to do so much more, like and still have to guard on the other end, it makes it a whole lot harder to be efficient while doing it. Not that he wasn't doing it, but like it was nice. He's putting up like probably like what 9 for 22, and like I have to shoot. I have to put up like as many shots as I need to.
Right.
Whatever Giannis isn't shooting, I probably should be the one to do it. And
Mhm.
that's just because I'm the better player. I'm the better offensive player like that we have on the team. His handles are up there too, like sneaky handle, sneaky
Yeah.
bounce, like that midi there. Like bro, he can cook when he cook. And I meant to say this earlier. There's only one blemish on Dame's playoff resume that's valid to me, and that's
Yes.
when they played the Pelicans
Yo,
because Drew took him out the game. He ain't turned him into a
Lance.
corner center,
No,
but he had him in a torture chamber. He
man.
had him in a
Dame
torture
has some
chamber,
moments. I was like, yo, like nigga, get up, like fight back, bro.
bro. That's the only time that's the only one that I feel like is legitimate. Like people always say, like the Warriors, like oh well, they played them without KD. Still the Warriors, no matter what, the roster doesn't match up right. It may be he doesn't play up all the way to like where you want Dame to hoop at, but it's times that like you know what he does against the Warriors, bro.
Mm.
Like I don't think that's a bad thing.
So,
But like I said,
yo,
Drew is like
okay,
like I said, Drew has caused a lot of blemishes on a lot of playoff resumes just because how he can take guys out of the game defensively.
for sure.
That's the only thing I have for there. Like if they have Chris Middleton, they probably still win. They probably beat the Celtics last year.
Probably.
And if not, I think it still goes to and they went to
The
7
S-
without Middleton.
the
So if they
Celtics
go
is
to
for
like
sure. They for
you
sure
said
beat
what?
the Celtics with Middleton.
Yeah.
That's not a
I
question.
wanna man, I'm excited to probably see that matchup at some point. I don't know if it'll happen next year, but I wanna see like the
They
Bucks and the
they
Warriors
got them on
matchup. I
Christmas.
wanna see that.
They got the
Oh,
matchup is on
nah, I
Christmas.
mean the playoffs. I
Oh,
don't
in the
even where
playoffs.
it
Okay,
matters
it'll come back
But
in the
yeah.
playoffs for sure. Ain't both of them is getting to the Eastern Conference Finals as long as they on opposite sides of the
Alright,
bracket.
yeah. All right, so you had Drew there. I got Drew 9, but I had CP 8. And it's CP probably didn't make your list. You making that face. Which ain't nothing wrong with. I think if we're projecting, I can see him falling off, but still based off what he did this last year, I really hate how they went out because we talk about how James Harden went out, the way the Suns went out last year, like that game 7 against the Mavs. They didn't take a shit. They got shitted on. Like they like I don't know what happened, but I don't know. But CP being like, what's he going to leave? Like being 37 this year and still being, he obviously isn't as good as he was before, like across all spectrums. But like his ability to just like really, really manage a game and then still be able to close the game out. And then he still plays defense. I don't think he's a defender he used to be, but I still think he's super smart. He's still a pest. He's
Yeah,
not a Drew Holiday type pest, but he's still a pest. Like that you had to be aware of. He's gonna give the effort. Like I forgot who I was talking to about this. Like, yeah, but like Luca killed him. Luca is 6'7" and
Luka
has at
killed
least 30
everybody.
pounds on him. You can look first of all, Luca kills everybody, no matter who you are. But then also being 6 feet, what are you expecting him to do in the post with like a guy like Luca? I don't know what you expect out of that. But at the end of the day, I still think he's a really like game like how people like how coach say like a game manager. I think he manages the game really well. He'll still get his buckets. He puts everybody in place. He's still like a top tier playmaker to me. I think the numbers just aren't there because he shouldn't have the ball that much in the first place. Like it should be D Book running the show. It should be DeAndre Ayton do their thing this year. And I think this year should be this transition of the start of that. But I still got CP as a top 10 player just because how still good he is at like 37 years old. I can see him being 9. I can see Drew moving up above him this upcoming year,
Mm.
and even who I have at 10 probably moving up for him just because they should take a leap. If not this year, it needs to be this year, but next year. But that's who I have though. At
Mm.
my 8, I had CP.
I'm not mad at it. So for my next pick on 9, this one I went a little back and forth between. I I got CJ McCollum because he will
Oh,
be the point next
he
year.
is point guard. He's playing
He is the
point. He's
point.
playing point. This year.
The little bit of sample size that I saw him playing point at the end of the year, I didn't think it was gonna work. I was looking at it,
No,
man, I was like, well, who can be they one? Is they gonna keep Devontae Graham starting or something? Like, how they gonna do it? Then they had the lineup and they're like, nah, CJ is the one. But yeah, I got CJ at the 9. I feel like just watching a little bit of sample size that he had last year playing with the Pelicans at the point, I didn't think it was gonna work. I was not a believer originally, but seeing how he orchestrated that, I was like, yo, this looks natural. This looks comfortable.
Yeah,
Not to the point where I was like, oh damn, you should have been playing the point all this time, but it don't look crazy. And realistically, CJ is only 6'3". Like
yeah,
that was
a
always the knock on him and Dame playing together. It was like, yo, that's a small
small
backcourt.
backcourt.
You know,
Yeah,
so him sliding over to the point looked real natural at at the point with the Pelicans. So I got him at 9.
yeah. I think a lot of people knocked him being a point guard because they're like, oh, he's not going to facilitate. But if you think about most of the point guard PGs in the league, even the best ones, yeah, they like assist numbers are great or like at least really good. I feel like he's not a great playmaker, but he's a good enough playmaker where he can get away with it at that team because he's still gonna score. He's still gonna
Yeah.
probably give you like the numbers might go back a little bit because you got Bi now, whose team it really is. I think at this point, and then Zion's coming back this year. You still
Mhm.
got Valanciunas. You have so many offensive weapons. He doesn't need to be the guy that just like, oh, I gotta go cook today.
Yeah.
Like
So now
no, like you
I feel like now he can naturally, because he has so many guys, like you said, Bi, Valanciunas, Zion. You got all these guys around you that you can just facilitate. Like they're already worried about you giving
yeah,
them buckets, and now they got to worry about everybody else on the wing. Either they're gonna step up and pick you up, or you're gonna be able to dish it off to one of the other guys that is very capable of scoring.
yeah. So
Um,
he didn't make my list, but I do like that pick though, because
I
I'm not gonna lie to you, he slipped my mind to think to like having a pool on this list, but I still think the who I have in my 10 is better than. But I gave my 8 and my 9, right, and that was your ninth, right?
that was my
See,
so you had 9.
yeah, so you had CJ at 9.
No, I'm saying who you had 9. That's what.
I had Drew. I had Drew at 9. CP
Oh,
was my
That's
8.
right. You
Drew
did
was
say
my
that.
9.
All right, so I'll let you get
Um,
10 first then.
yeah, I got Lamelo. I think he realistically could probably be above here. And I think the
Okay.
other name that if you don't have Lamelo, I think I know the other name you have on there. And I really, really wanted to put them because we talked about them earlier today on our top 25 draft. I don't know if we on the
All
same wavelength with that or not, but Lamelo, I think one of the more fun players in the league for sure, for sure. That might fall back a little bit because Miles Bridges don't know how to act. Uh, but I still think he's gonna improve as a shot creator and like shot taker. So his shot diet isn't always gonna be great, but they're gonna need him to probably shoot a little bit more because they're losing. So they're losing a 20 point per game scorer. So his numbers are probably gonna jump up a little bit this year. The assists might remain about the same because they don't have a ton of weapons right now, and also who their coach is. They like older guys. They don't have a lot of older guys right now in Charlotte. So um, I think they'll still be solid. Like the Charlotte Hornets, like they were people said they're the definition of mid last year because they had a legit a 500 across every single like lens, whether it was away games, home games, this conference, that conference, like all that stuff was like the same. They're like a super really good middle of the pack team. I don't know if they'll still be that because, like I said, they're losing the 20 point per game scorer who was a lot for them last year. But I think LaMelo can also take another leap. And realistically, he should. Like you're a 6'8", 6'9" point guard. So you should like there's no reason he shouldn't be at least in conversations for being like 6 next year. But like him and Darius Garland, like I know people say, oh, they can go back and forth a little bit. I think Darius Garland is a lot better than LaMelo right now. Like potential wise, that's a different story. But like we can talk about potential all day. What are you actually doing when a game starts? Because if somebody like I wanted to, I'll see if you got him there or not. Whoever HO10 is, but I think Lamelo should be a top 10 point guard going into next year, and then finishing off the year, he should still be 10. But if he's not at 10, he should be like at least higher. Like he could jump like for who I have on my list, like CP and Drew.
Mhm.
Should be able to jump him. He should be able to jump CJ next year just off of
For
like
sure.
taking a leap of who you are. Like Ant took a leap this year. I don't think Lamelo took
Huge
that
leap.
same leap that Ant did. And he still
Huge.
could be a solid defender. I just think like I don't want to say the cherry picking stuff because he gambles a lot. I think once he gets smarter, he'll like be better across the board for how the team is. But yeah, no, I got Lamelo. It's like right at my 10.
Um, I got CP. I wasn't gonna completely disrespect him. He did make my list. He's
Oh, okay.
10. He does fall in that same boat though of James Harden. Of I just don't have faith in him
Yeah.
being any better this season. I'll say it like that because goes back to my 2-season rule. He wasn't hurt 2 seasons, but 2 seasons we got to your playoff exit and you fell apart. Like you didn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like because I feel like you can still play decent and you not be the reason your team lost. He holds quite a bit of blame on both of those playoff exits. Of like,
Yes.
yo, where was CP? What happened to CP? We had a we had a 2-0 lead on the Bucks in the finals, and then you just fell off a cliff. You was playing cold up until your birthday, and then you just fell off a cliff. Like, bro, because I
Humanitarian.
don't knock him for like you said, the Luca thing. You can't guard Luca. I'm not expecting you to guard Luca. Like, yeah, nigga,
Yeah.
Luca. Everybody Luca post up DeAndre Ayton, so I don't
I
expect
was
you to
saying he
leave.
posted up 80, bro.
Yeah, like, hey, what you gonna do at 6 foot? So I'm not saying it on that
Yeah.
end, but just what we expect out of CP. We expect CP to take care of the basketball. We expect CP to get everybody involved. And well, I mean, I guess most of his career, but offensively, when we need you to go crazy, all right, bro, turn up. I need you to take over this game offensively. No more passing, bro. Which he has done in recent years up until the
Yeah.
time of him going out of the playoffs. He just falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's still top 10 for what he does. I'm not gonna disrespect him like that,
Okay.
but I just I don't see it being any. I don't like if somebody were to tell me like, oh, this year is different for the Suns and CP. Why? What evidence do we have to say that this year is gonna be different for CP?
Yeah.
So well, we'll
I feel
see.
it. I understand it.
And on the cusp of this, it was somebody that I wanted to put in there, but like I was talking about, like I didn't know if he was a point guard or a shooting guard, and I was leaning more toward a shooting guard. Was SGA. I
Yeah.
would assume that Giddy is more the point guard, which is why I didn't put him there. And like I feel like SGA's job really is, yo, I'm just gonna score. But I feel like that ain't
Mhm.
really been hashed out between the two of them. So I was just like, I'm gonna just leave him off the list and put him
Yeah.
on the 2 guard list.
I think they have a lot of positionless basketball. OKC. I think technically on paper people might call him a point guard, but I was in the same lane as you were. Like I view him more as a two. Like we did our list earlier. I was like, Luka's my one, SGA is my two.
Mhm.
Just because his job right now is to be like, I'm gonna get us a bucket. He's one of the best ISO scorers in the league right now. I knew he
It's
was
been that
nice. Like
way.
we was. You said what?
It's been that way for a minute.
He's
Like he didn't have
for a
the
while.
reps, but statistically, when he was with the Clippers, he was still like by the metrics, like one of the
I
best ISO
didn't even
players.
know he was like that. Like they said, I would trade you SGA for PG. I was like, PG just came off like MVP season. You getting like SGA scoring to that? Like, all right, bro. Like all the picks and stuff you understand. I was like, why SGA? Like, why not like one of the other guys? And in that first season, I was like, oh. And I watched him at Kentucky. I knew he was. Don't get me wrong, but everybody looked cold when they had Kentucky. Not saying I didn't think he was like at least good, but like to see how great he jumped up, I was like, oh, he's one of he. Like, I know I keep saying it today, but like he's one of them ones. Like
Yeah,
you're not stopping because he's long as hell. What is he, like 6'5", six
yeah.
six, I think, and they got
I
him
give him
playing either the
6'6".
one or the two. So whenever they make that decision, like it'll be crazy. Whenever they also decide they want to like start winning and not sit him for half a
That's what
season,
I'm saying, and I think
it's
they're probably gonna do it again because Chet is out. They
Chet's hurt.
probably just gonna be like,
Chet's
"All
hurt.
right, bro, this is another wash. Chet gonna come back. We're gonna get a number 2 overall pick, and then another high overall pick coming in the same season." So it'll probably happen again. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it to though. I thought they was gonna let them play because Chet and them was coming and they had like a decent
They
roster.
might they might have been trying that this year. We don't know yet because obviously Chet's done for the year, but like they could have this could have been a year they was like, all right, let's try to like let's start putting that progress together on paper.
See what
Let's
it look
start.
like
Let's get all these names we got on paper. Let's get them to start actually hooping. Let's not sit out SGA for a whole or half a season, a quarter of a season
over
because
any
he got
knick-knack
bumped
injury.
because he bumped into a door, and we want to
Yeah,
make sure he's so like
he got a hangnail. He'll get him out the game. He out a week.
man, like some weak ass shit. So that's who I had. I thought about putting Cade up here because I do think Cade will take another leap.
But you gotta
He was one of the people that was on the. He was one of those people that was on the cusp for me. Like people who I had outside were like him. I really want. I almost put Marcus Smart on this list. I was like, I'm gonna get an edge to Lamelo because Lamelo's a better player. But Marcus Smart is coming off of it. Like, don't get me wrong. I do think you can go a little bit better routes with like people in that lineup. Like who I would rather have than Marcus Smart. On like if I'm the Celtics, I would rather have Drew than Marcus Smart. I would rather have Lonzo than Marcus Smart. That's also like Lonzo can stay healthy, but like there are players I think that you would rather have just because I feel like they fit better. But the fact that they did get to the conference finals,
mhm.
or my bad, the finals with like Marcus Smart, not like these other PGs they had. Like he said before, he said we've had star point guards that didn't get that done. I got that done. Like I'm not the starting two no more. Like I'm the starting point guard. I'm running the show. I'm having these
Yeah.
nights where I'm having like maybe sixes, but I'm clamping the best player. I'm going. It's probably gonna be 3 or 4. It's gonna be nice. So I'm hitting 3 or 4 threes a night. I'm putting up like
Mhm.
15. I'm the one saving us some nights. So I understand like his argument was that like well, he's right. He's valid. They had like Terry Rozier turned out to be like a really good point guard. Well, he's naturally a two, but like Terry Rozier, Kyrie, Kemba.
Kemba.
They had IT. They made they made some runs, but like they didn't get to the finals until it was him,
Mhm.
like helping run the show too. Obviously, the team is a whole lot better than it was then with being filled out with the roster spots. But those are like two players off the top of my head. Then I can't think of nobody else who I had written down. But those are like you said, like CJ probably should be like on my honorable mention list. I don't think I would have him over the like bottom three for sure, like CP, Drew, and LaMelo. I don't think he makes it for me, but I think he is a conversation starter though.
For sure.